MTR promises comprehensive inspection of Sha Tin to Centralink following construction lapses at the project's Hong Hom station. Legislation to end discrimination against breastfeeding moms, while fathers can look forward to more paternity leave. And new report sharply criticizes former FBI Director Comey for his handling of Clinton email saga.
Good evening. The MTR Corporation has vowed to inspect the entire Sha Tin to Centralink project as questions of faulty construction works at Hong Hom Station linger. This comes as the firm handed in an incident report on the matter on the very last day of an extended government deadline. Elmi Lung reports.
The MTR Corporation finally submitted its incident report a week after the initial due date.
It is evident that there is room for improvement in its reporting mechanism. I'm very concerned about the incident and have instructed the corporation's management to carefully inspect the entire Sha Tin to Centralink project to see if there's any other violation. We will not tolerate any violation or shelter any fault.
The executive took off without taking any media questions on camera. The 46-page report was later uploaded online. It's about steel fixing works at the joints between the diaphragm walls and the platform slab at Hong Hom Station, some of which are 3 years old. In oral statements given, none of the MTR's 19 former or ex-workers witnessed the threaded sections of reinforcement steel bars being cut. But 2 site staff were notified or saw evidence of the cutting, such as a gap between the coupler connection and the steel bar. One said he came across the situation 5 times between August and December 2015. 2 representatives from subcontractor Fang Shun said on some occasions and as requested by Leighton, they would cut the threaded steel bars to meet the required length. Also, they mentioned an understanding where Leighton would carry out ratification measures on shortened steel bars screwed into the couplers. Leighton, the main contractor, is said to have rectified the deficiencies. Lawmakers aren't convinced.
The MTR should have so many documentation records, including those correspondence with the contractor and the subcontractor. However, the MTR refused to disclose all the documents to the general public. So I don't think the MTR have told the truth and the whole truth.
The Sha Tin to Centralink stretches 17 kilometers and is expected to be fully completed in 2021. Elmi Long, TVB News.
Local mothers may soon get a break as the government is planning to make it illegal to discriminate against breastfeeding. Sharon Tang reports there's good news for fathers, too, who may soon enjoy extended paternity leave.
It can be tough for mothers to balance work and family, but for some new mums, that's not the hardest part. Some mums say they encounter major difficulties when finding space for breastfeeding. Then there is also hostility towards breastfeeding mums. Kelly Chan, co-founder of the Natural Parenting Network, said she breastfed her baby in a restaurant once, but a member of staff asked her to go to the toilet because it's too embarrassing. She noted that in Taiwan, a person will be fined up to 30,000 Taiwan dollars if they try to stop or repel a mother from breastfeeding. She hopes that the government's upcoming legislation can include penalties as a deterrent effect. However, the legislation will reportedly not include penalties. Meanwhile, the Labour Advisory Board supports the idea, but says there are some concerns. Member INC, representing local employers, said due to limited space, it could be hard for small to medium-sized firms to designate a private area for employees to breastfeed their babies. The panel on constitutional affairs is expected to discuss the proposal next week and will hand it over to the legislature for its first reading once it's approved. Hopes for legislation not only for mothers, but fathers too. The government today gazetted a bill to extend paternity leave from 3 days to 5, just before Father's Day. The increase was proposed by the chief executive last year and will take effect after lawmakers approve the changes. If passed, the 5-day paternity leave will apply to fathers whose children are born after the amendment bill's effective date. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
The air conditioning system in several blocks of Queen Mary Hospital broke down at around noon today. The hospital had to suspend its elective surgeries, but the malfunction did not affect its emergency operations services. Staff also moved in multiple air conditioners and dehumidifiers into rooms with higher temperatures. The Electrical and Mechanical Services Department said a cold water pipe burst and water gushed out this morning. Repairs are still underway.
Dems have written to the LegCo House Committee to debate a motion of no confidence against Andrew Leung. They're angry over the way the LegCo president handled the controversial co-location bill, which was passed last night.
We have to make it very clear that what President Andrew Leung did over the past 2 weeks were completely and blatantly wrong. Simple as that.
Even though you know that you won't succeed in trying to get him out of his position.
Well, there are a number of examples in politics that we cannot succeed, but we still have to try.
We need to tell Andrew Leung to stop behaving like a tin pot dictator.
A bombshell new report on the FBI's handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation is blasting former Bureau Director James Comey for insubordination and his handling of the case. But while the report by the Justice Department's Inspector General says Comey breached protocol, it did clear him of political motivation. The 500-page report says Comey broke long-standing rules while handling the email case. It says Comey made a serious error of judgment when he announced shortly before the 2016 U.S. presidential election that he was reopening an investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server. However, it also concludes that Comey and senior leadership had no political motive to support one candidate over another.
And that is significant because President Donald Trump has repeatedly alleged that the FBI is politically biased against him.
The report accuses Comey of usurping the authority of the Attorney General when, in July 2016, he announced there would be no charges against Clinton for her email use as Secretary of State. It also criticizes a handful of FBI staff members who exchanged highly charged political messages that created the appearance of bias. The current FBI director says it's clear there is some work to do.
But let's also be clear on the scope of this report. It's focused on a specific set of events back in 2016 and a small number of FBI employees connected to those events. Nothing in this report impugns the integrity of our workforce as a whole or the FBI as an institution.
The White House says Trump has been briefed on the report.
There are a lot of things in this report that not only worry those of us in the administration, but should worry a lot of Americans, that people played this political bias and injected that into a department that shouldn't have any of that.
Anyone who is hoping to use this report to undermine the Mueller probe or prove the existence of a deep state conspiracy against President Trump will be sorely disappointed.
Comey himself reportedly disagrees with parts of the report, but finds its overall conclusions reasonable. James Aiken, TVB News.
And still to come in our newscast, anti-smoking lobby wants government to ban e-cigarettes. Hong Kong University team develops new technique to fight flu virus.
為咗推動爽樂家庭關係，
李錦記家族基金就舉辦
家家在樂，代代有愛兒歌創作比賽。
透過你哋嘅創意，
好寫出家心相聚嘅旋律同埋歌詞。
快啲報名啦！
Welcome back to TVB News. Local anti-smoking groups want the government to implement a complete ban on e-cigarettes and similar products. Pinky Wong has more.
The Hong Kong Council on Smoking and Health, as well as other local medical associations, is urging the government to enact a total ban on e-cigarettes and other new tobacco products. They hope to stop these non-traditional products from being a gateway to smoking. They also want to send a message that these products are not a way to quit smoking.
The World Health Organization does not endorse e-cigarettes as a smoking cessation tool. There is absolutely no conclusive evidence that e-cigarettes can help smokers quit smoking.
Yet, for some smokers, e-cigarettes are a welcome alternative.
I think you should let it free. Less regulation, because at the moment, millions, lots of people dying from smoking. So any healthier alternatives should be encouraged. It shouldn't be restricted.
The council also quoted a survey from University of Hong Kong of some 200 students. It found that last academic year, 70% of students who had tried any form of smoking tried e-cigarette first. The council also stressed that e-cigarettes are accessible to teenagers and has the potential to turn them into smokers of real cigarettes. The associations reminded citizens that even new forms of tobacco products are still harmful and addictive. Pinky Wong, TVB News.
In recent years, scientists have found that resistance can develop quickly to influenza drugs such as Tamiflu. But local scientists have discovered a new way to fight the flu using a virus to defeat a virus. And this could make worries about drug resistance a thing of the past. Christy Leung tells us more.
Flu infections can be life-threatening, but a research team at the University of Hong Kong may have a new solution to fighting influenza.
We are using the virus to fight the virus.
After around 4 years of work, the team designed a new type of defective interfering gene from an influenza virus called DIG3. Then it is delivered to the host cell using a particular type of protein. The technique was tested on mice which were infected with the H1N1 or H7N7 strain of flu. Their survival rate was up to 90%.
We are trying to cheat the virus or cheat the cell. Because of this, the cell is producing a lot of defective viruses with defective genes, which go on and continue to interfere with the viral replication cycle. And that's how we defeat the virus.
In recent years, scientists found resistance can develop rapidly to antiviral drugs such as Tamiflu and Relenza.
They always develop resistance because the influenza virus develop mutations. But we're using the genes of the virus, and so we do not expect mutations to develop against the defective interfering genes.
The team has already applied for a US patent, while the findings were also published today in a scientific journal. As the research remains at an initial stage, the team expects to take another 5 to 10 years to develop new flu medicines with this discovery. Christy Leung, TVB News.
The government is proposing to build a $16 billion road. It's one that officials think will ease traffic congestion in central and eastern Kowloon. At today's LegCo panel on transport, lawmakers discussed the idea to build Trunk Road T2. Most of the 3.4-kilometer road will come in the form of a tunnel. If funding gets secured, work can start next year and be completed by 2025. By then, the journey from Lam Tin to Kai Tak would be drastically shortened from 15 minutes to just 3. Legislators also talked about fare increase applications by City Bus and New World First Bus. Their average hike of 12% didn't go down well with council members, even though the operators last increased fares 10 years ago.
You are asking too much. Can you look at other modes of transport which ask for such a big increase? In the last 10 years, we haven't seen any approval of increase for more than 10%. And don't forget, MTR just raised its fares and it was 3%. We already resent it because MTR has a big reserve.
Now to a horrifying case of human trafficking in Hungary. That's where 4 men will serve 25 years in prison for killing 71 migrants. The 4 men were found guilty of homicide and people smuggling. It was August 2015 when the driver was paid to sneak the migrants into Germany. But the ringleader ordered him not to open the doors of a truck that had no ventilation. As air quickly ran out, the judge said the migrants began banging, screaming, and shouting to alert the driver. Within 2 hours, they all suffocated to death. Their bodies were found in Austria, where the truck had been abandoned. And that's our news.
Good night.